So welcome to CP Gully Wash F9. This will be a very basic map talk for like newcomer and low amateur players. We're going to go over the rollouts, the different callouts, and basic ideas for positioning and pushing through different points. So starting with callouts, from spawn we have the point, which is the last point. Euros might call this the ring, which I also call it the ring. It's the part where it's the glass, what is that, like, semicircle? And you just stand on top of it as a soldier. Underneath the point, we have water, because on an earlier version of the map, this place was flooded with water. To the left of the point is secret, just this underground area, or underneath the roofed area. Left or top left, whatever your team wants to call it, shutter or window or lockers. To the right, we have launch pad or platform or balcony, whatever your team wants to call it. And in the center, those are pipes. On the right side, the only important call out here is either like sentry spot or crates, because there's boxes here. And then on the very right is river, because yeah, like a river leads into water or a lake. Pushing out of last, like I mentioned, that area is lockers. This center entrance is main, and main leads into lobby and wood or baby door. I think I've heard some other callouts, but the most common ones are wood or baby door. Joe Biden is not in this chat. Hold on, I need to type something.
Joe Biden?
Yeah, and then you got the staircase here, which again leads into river. River comes out to bats or harblue, which so bats would be like just this entire area, and harblue refers to only the wooden area. You got another shutter, which is from lobby out onto second, and that shutter right there is specifically baby door. The reason why this is baby door is because this entire room is big door. It's just a big door. That's why it's called that. Obviously, you got the point again. You can call that rock, doesn't matter. And then over here on the very left is choke. Above choke is going to be a very serious thing. Whatever your team wants to call it, go for it. Usually it's just above choke.
Yeah, I was about to say above choke. Okay.
On the left of choke is drop down, because you can drop down. To the right of choke is, I believe, elbow. I always get these two mixed up. I think this one is elbow and that's banana.
Banana. Okay.
I've heard people
Elbow, banana.
call what you just call banana elbow. I don't know which one people call most
Yeah,
of the time.
I always get them mixed up. Usually I usually never call out the left one anyways. I always refer to this whenever I call out something on mid. So on middle we have the point, which you might hear sometimes called nipple. And then
The nipple.
drop down or below point is underneath. And that is all of the major callouts. Next, we'll go over the rollouts. So Demoman and everyone else is trying to get out the right shutter door. So you just do one sticky jump. You should be close enough to your medic so that you get another overheal to 260 or something similar. Your goal on this rollout, if you are planning to play left side, is to land on launch pad. So you're trying to go horizontal here, because if you go too high, then you're going to bonk your head on this concrete thing. So, right shutter door, trying to go horizontal, another sticky here, go towards shutter, and then your final sticky, go into choke. Grab this health pack, and then you can shoot one or two stickies at their big door. That's going to be the entire rollout. The other rollout, if you are planning to go right side, is again, you're going towards the right shutter door, and then instead of going towards launchpad, you follow your team through main. So you jump down here, and then you just continue walking for the rest of it. Walk through big door, and you charge your sticky up into their choke. And this would be like when you're meeting them. So soldiers. Pocket soldier is going to be the exact same thing on every 5CP map. You just hit yourself 4 times. And again, my tips are don't try to go for distance at all, because if you do, then you're not going to get below 80 health. You want to get below 80 health so that your escape plan gives you the maximum speed boost. Then around this area, like next to this vent or on the other side, is where you take off your escape plan, wait for that arrow, and then you continue on to middle. Some soldiers continue walking forward through shutter here. It's important that you don't leave line of sight of your medic, because if you walk too far, then your medic is no longer able to arrow you. So if you are one of those soldiers who continues walking forward, just like stop around here and wait for the arrow. Okay, and then roamer is gonna be almost the same. So you walk out the right side, you're aiming to go through main. I see some roamers do an extra like pogo kind of jump to get a little bit more distance to get into main. I've heard higher level people say don't do that. That just gives you even less health coming into middle. But in my opinion, it can also just be like very negligible. Anyways, walk towards the right, rocket jump towards baby door, continue walking forward if you are not doing a fast rollout, and then from here you have different options as roamer. So Gully Wash is a very short rollout for soldiers. You will not have 300 health coming into middle. Do not expect your medic to give you 300 health, okay? At most, you should expect to have 250 health coming into the mid fight. And so you just need to plan around that. Soldiers and medic. You guys just walk. Walk right, go through main. Try to avoid your pocket soldier wherever he is. And then, as flank scout, if you have winger, this jump will be easy, but if you don't, it's still possible, but a bit harder. You can double jump onto this wood, and then double jump onto the right side and put pressure early onto the enemy demo man. I do not recommend doing this alone. If you are planning to go for the demo man early, then you should always have your roamer come with you. Because you coming here taking this 1v1 is very risky, since their team is literally just like 1 second away from catching up.
Yeah, but Jamillia, what I like to do is that when I come out a big door,
Mm-hmm.
I go out to that I go up to that like under the under where you were like under point to
Under point, okay.
yeah, where you see that door right there. So
This?
yeah, right of that, a little bit right of that, like the wall.
The wall? Oh, this right here? Okay.
Yeah. Sit there for a little bit because it takes them a little bit to for them when they come through big door and to go up in through elbow.
Mm-hmm.
So through elbow, it then what I said a little bit, it then I like to go like through under into their elbow and then kill their med.
Mm-hmm.
And it works like it works like it just works like flawlessly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's gonna work against teams that never expect it, but in the ideal world, they will catch on to it and be able to like intercept you as you do it.
Catch on to it.
All
Oh,
right.
you've only played
I
newcomer.
wish.
Yeah.
You don't have much to compare to.
Yeah, so that's what Flank Scout can do if they want to. That's more of like a very aggressive play. I do recommend that if you do jump the Demo Man early, you do eventually plan to back off to your side to help your team. Otherwise, as Scout in general, you're going to be like double jumping on this awning, and then you can see what's happening lower, you can see what's happening across, you can see what's happening on right side. So this is a good like 1 second spot to just see what's happening, and then you immediately double jump to your side to help out your team. If your demo man is getting like rushed every single mid fight, then instead of going for their demo man, it could be better to just immediately as flank scout jump up and help your demo man fight these flankers. So pocket scout, you can delay here a little bit because your medic's going to be immediately walking to the left, try to get in through elbow here. So you can like wait here for a bit, let him catch you as a heal target, so you give him extra movement speed, and then you can jump up and support your team. Okay, so that's the left side rollout. If your demo man plans to go right side, then like essentially both of your scouts are going to be wanting to do this jump and immediately claim this area. If you guys are going right side, you need to kill the enemy demo man or lock him out. Preferably you kill him though. That way you can secure this area and have your attention elsewhere. Because if that demo man doesn't die, then you're going to have to spend some resources looking at their demo, and then you have to spend some resources looking at the rest of the team who are coming in afterwards. So going right side is the very aggressive mid fight, and you just need to get onto that enemy demo man as soon as possible. Alright. Let me talk about Soldier real quick, the roamer specifically. There's a few different things that I've done in like amateur. So a fast rollout might look like you jump towards this shutter. Obviously I suck at rocket jumping. And
Wait, is
then
this for roamer or pocket?
roamer.
Okay.
Pocket Soldier will always be doing the pickaxe rollout. So roamer, let me put on view models. View model 1. Roamer, when you reach the shutter door, you can do a sort of left-handed jump here and pogo through big door. However, that requires you to go pretty much horizontal, because if you go too high, then you're going to bonk your head on this metal sheet, and if you go too low, then you're going to just immediately touch the ground. So you got to find that sweet spot here, and it just takes a lot of practice. And if you hit it perfectly, a perfect jump will allow you to land on the enemy demo man. An imperfect jump will allow you to land right here in the entrance to drop down before the enemy team even gets through big door. And so you can get into drop down without being seen at all. And then an even worse jump, let me see if I can do that. I am pretty bad at this class. So an even worse jump, you can reach this door that we just talked about. And again, the enemy team will not see you. So you can stay here for a little bit and coordinate with your team. And then like 5 seconds later or something, you say, all right, I'm going to bomb in now. Then you jump up from somewhere like right here or something onto them. And then also your team walks across. So that would be a fast rollout. Another thing you can do as roamer is high bomb off of this right rock. And if you hit the jump perfectly, you should land on this metal sheet right as their medic is walking into elbow. So you like land here, and then you can just immediately shoot down onto the medic. That's going to be very aggressive, and you are essentially landing on a scout, since, like I mentioned, scouts love to stand on this. And then the other thing is, when your flank scout is going for their demo man, then you might want to like swerve, well not that high, but you might want to swerve onto their demo, put extra pressure on him, and then jump away, because you're in danger of dying if you stay there too long. And then finally, if your team is doing a right side rollout, then one thing you can do is jump up, put extra pressure on that demo man, and then immediately look to the left to try to deny people from coming in. If you're not doing that, then you can play on ground a little bit. So you let the rest of your team deal with the demo man, you play on ground a little bit, and then once you see their soldiers bomb in, then you counter jump them. So you're taking positioning second, and you should have better positioning because you will know where their soldiers are landing. Alright. Yeah. So, for roamer specific, drop down play where you like hide and drop down, coordinate with your team saying, hey, I'm going up drop down now. This could be like a every once in a while kind of tactic, because if you do it every single mid fight, they're going to catch on, right? They'll know that you're going up drop down every mid fight, they're going to have someone planted here and you're not going to be able to do anything. So going up drop down is a play that you do like every once out of 3 mids, just mix it up. You come up here, you're behind them, you kill people.
Oh no, they're learning.
Yeah. The other thing you can do is bait drop down, where instead of going up drop down every single mid, you purposefully expose yourself so that you make it look like you're going drop down, but you're continuously talking to your team saying, all right, can we get our other soldier to bomb in like 3 seconds? And then once those 3 seconds elapse, you bomb in from somewhere else that's not drop down onto the enemy team. So you're making them fear you go up drop down. They are spending resources potentially looking at it, and so those resources are not spent looking at the other soldier who's bombing in. Alright. Yeah, and then Pocket Soldier, you...
What about the fade bombs?
the fade bombs. This is newcomer amateur. I'm not expecting people to be good.
Yeah, but you can just tell them what it is.
You act like I know how to do those things. I'm a medic
You
player.
just jump, and then instead of jumping
turn me
on
down.
the roof, instead of jumping on the roof, you just jump away so your scouts have space.
Yeah,
So
like
you do the
that.
same jump as that? Yeah, exactly. That's really important a lot of times because then it makes space for your team and you don't die. Because a lot of times when you just bomb right on them, they'll just insta-kill you.
People do fade bombs in like newcomer. I've seen it.
It's really... No, I mean, if you learn these things earlier, then it's better.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you just get better at double bombing and just like doing damage, that's always going to be huge. But it's always good to learn new techniques because then they won't expect it and they won't be as prepared as the more simple things.
Mm-hmm. Something one of my other mentors told me is you could like just walk up to this window and shoot across a couple times, and then you go from there.
Especially if their soldiers playing on the ground or someone.
Yeah.
That window's really huge for a soldier.
I know, I know in some, I know in like some of our scrims, like the teams that we go against, I know that it was like just this one team that freaking their soldiers do the high bomb. They do high bomb and high bomb baits,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Yeah, baiting
it is
can
Yeah,
do a lot
it's
because it
drawing
just
attention.
distracts people.
Yeah.
yeah.
A huge thing is to fade bomb, let your soldier bomb in, and then when you're getting buffed, then you go in after your other soldier. It's just as much distraction as you can make to make it so their team is more chaotic is really big. So then their calls get really messed up.
Yes.
You don't want to try to be as like organized as possible.
What I was going to say is for Pocket Soldier, you can play ground for a couple seconds so that you spot like your drop down, you see maybe like their roamers planning to do a delayed sort of thing in drop down. So as Pocket Soldier, you can be over here for like 1 or 2 seconds, but then you should immediately jump up to your side to help out the rest of your team, shoot across, coordinate with your roamer. If there is someone in your drop down as Pocket Soldier, that is your job to deal with it. So if it's called, someone's going up drop down, Pocket Soldier, you come back here, you deal with it. No one else should be worried about this. You should be able to handle this on your own. Afterwards, get a buff, coordinate with the rest of your team, you know, take space maybe, jump on nipple, shoot down on people, just a bunch of soldier things. Alright. Yes, so that's essentially all of the mid fights, or all of the basic overview of mid fights. Are there any questions about that?
No questions.
Okay, then we'll talk about holding points and stuff like that. So what I like to do is I like to start on my last, defending my last, and I make my way forward to their last. So defending my last when things are even, there's a few different configurations. One of the more popular ones, or one of the ones I've seen most often, is where a demo man is like trapping left side, maybe has a trap on launch pad, maybe a trap on river, just something along those lines, but usually I see demo man on the left watching some sort of trap. A good trap spot that I like is right here in lockers. This catches out people if they don't know about it, but it's really easy for people to clear it if they do know about it. So it's I don't want to say high risk, high reward, but in my opinion, it's a pretty good trap.
What about what about then to the left of that?
To the left of
To
it,
the left, like above the
right
lockers.
here.
Down, yeah, right there to the left of that. Like,
See, the
It's
thing
all the
is,
same,
not like
as long as
not
it's on
above
the-
it, but to like.
As long as it's on the door frame, and they
soldiers
can't see
can
it when
splash
walking in, then
corners.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically just a soldier can get rid of those traps, but as long as you are putting it in a place where if someone doesn't expect it and you're watching the window and they walk in there, then you can dead, then that's the same trap. It's all the same trap.
Yeah. Other thing I've seen is when you're like on this side, you're expecting them to push. Demo man might like place trap all along ring or in these corners if you're good at
Dude,
hiding
those
them.
corners are so stupid. I hate those corners so much. They're so
Oh my
broken.
God.
Yeah, no, they're literally just like invisible traps that you can't see if you place them
Oh,
correctly.
oh
And
my
So it basically
God.
just denies water pushes. Is the
Wait,
huge
wait,
thing.
Yeah.
can you really shoot them like when they're like in it?
You can shoot
Like,
them, but like if you place them correctly, you can't see them as a scout.
oh my
But the
God.
demo's main job is either trap out to try to get a pick or trap the point. And the point traps on this map are really, really important. It's the same on fucking what's that map that isn't played anymore?
Why?
Badlands,
Metalworks?
but
Oh.
Badlands isn't played anymore.
There's
But it's the
metal,
same
but
type
whatever.
of thing as you, yeah, and Metalworks. But you just trap the point where people can't see it, and then basically it just denies them from being able to get on to try to delay their Uber as much as possible.
Yeah, generally just on any map, trapping the point as demo when you're on this side is probably the most important thing you can do. And you
Yeah,
just get
but
on the
it's
point, you
it's
basically
really
just
big
always trap
with
it.
these ring things because like you can't see them.
Okay,
I mean, you
so
can see them, and there's systematic ways to clear them out, but you know, it's still very tough to see, and it's unless you know exactly where to look.
on this map, unless you're planning to push out, scout is probably not recommended. I do recommend off-classing both of your scouts to something. For example, like heavy could be over here. You could have like a sniper around this area. Gun spot could be like right here next to this pillar. Or, you know, if that's too risky, it's too hard, maybe they're going to push in very soon, you could place the gun spot closer. Other common gun spots are right next to the boxes, and I like to place mine right there underneath, or right next to the staircase. I think I've also seen sometimes heavies play in secret with like Tomislav, that way they aren't, their minigun sound doesn't come out. I've also experimented with a gun spot underneath this platform. Yeah, it got
Which
one
platform?
kill. Underneath
Oh,
shutter.
yeah. Yeah, there's a couple like good spots for sentries on every map, but like if you place it in a spot where people don't expect it, that's also just
Yeah.
as good as long as they don't expect it. So like they'll walk in and be like, "Oh, the sentry spots that I know to
Where's-
clear are gone," and then they're like, "Oh, there's just one in front of main."
Yeah.
Where did you say you normally put guns?
I normally put it
Either-
like next to this
yeah,
pillar, by the box,
or on-
or in front of
yeah.
the staircase.
Sometimes in secret also. It's the same type of thing with in front of main where it's just like it's a place people don't check.
Yeah.
And it watches, and the one in secret can watch the point pretty well.
Alright. The problem with with the box gun spot, I should say, is that it doesn't watch the point. You just heard a guy say different gun spot does. This one does not. So if you place it here, this is more of like you're expecting them to push through shutter, and you're expecting your soldiers to be able to hold the point. Right? Sometimes you want your gun to be able to see the point. That's why maybe I'll place it here instead, or on that pillar, or in secret. It all depends on what you have time to do and what you prefer to do. Soldiers, I often see them rotating all around areas. So like there might be a soldier on pipe or around launch pad or on right side or even next to my medic. It's mostly just you're taking over the scout's role of scouting area. So you might be coming over here on launchpad, just see what's happening in lobby. You see a person, you shoot them, you back off, you know, just that kind of thing. Peek and prod, make sure like you constantly are aware of where the enemy team is, and that way you can adapt to what they do. You should never, as soldier, put yourself in a position where you will die unless you're going for a sack. Crit heals is going to be a major thing on this map. You're often going to maybe come back for ammo or health from the supply cabinet, so make sure you hit your resupply bind or something. Or if 15 seconds have elapsed, sorry, 10 seconds have elapsed and you have taken no damage, just come over to your medic, get a crit heal buff. Alright. That's one of the formations. Typically you're going to see this on like even Ubers. When it's Uber disad, you're going to be playing a lot more back. Other formation I have seen and experimented with is soldier holding shutter, soldier holding launchpad, medic sandwiched in between. You got your sentry gun spot around here, and your demo man is like around that area, trapping off river. So here, the only threat your medic is in is from river, but if a soldier or something comes in through river, he's going to get shot by the gun. So this spot, in my opinion, is okay if your team is comfortable with holding their doors. If ever a person is not holding their doors, then your medic is going to be put in a more vulnerable situation. So, like I mentioned, you just have to have your people holding all of their doors properly.
What about pyro?
The pyro.
Pyro.
This
Yes,
is the
for the
best map for
pyro.
pyro. This is the best map for
Yes.
pyro in the game.
Pyro
Yeah,
is really good.
finally play pyro.
So I've seen like pyros hide around corners on this map, like near river, because the textbook Uber push is Ubering in through river here. So you get the early call that they're coming in through river. The pyro just jumps around corner and just holds down mouse 2. That's all you're doing is pyro.
Your flamethrower is sticking out.
So I hate that fucking class so much.
Same thing with shutter here. If you are able to spot that they're coming in through shutter pretty early and you can get a pyro to rotate over here, you just stuff them in shutter. You just hold down mouse 2, continuously air blast them, and their Uber is going to turn disastrous. So yes, pyro is definitely recommended for this map if your team is comfortable with that. Alright. So
What
that's...
about?
Yeah, go on.
But we're forgetting one class.
Mm-hmm.
Spy.
Class. On
Spy?
defense, you shouldn't try to play spy. It's usually a bad play. If you get the medic, obviously, it's always worth it, but it's usually a bad play.
Like,
Oh,
the priorities should be, if you have time, you build a sentry gun. So that's going to be one of your scouts. And then
As a
the other
defensive-
one,
yeah.
the other one would off-cost like pyro, sniper, or heavy.
Yeah, you always want your soldiers playing, and soldiers playing on ring is really huge on this map too, like on top of it. But as the defensive thing, like obviously if you get a pick on sniper or spy, it's useful, but it's a lot more risk than there is reward. Because if you lose one and they push with Uber, then you're usually just gonna lose. So I wouldn't do it, but it depends on how good you are in the class or whatever, or how coordinated you are.
Mhm.
If they're like
Okay.
down players, then it can kind of work. But if it's like 6v6, they have Uber ad, or it's even Ubers, I wouldn't do it.
Yes.
Just like he was saying in terms of the soldier denying point, remember when someone goes to bait cap, you should have a soldier be dedicated to jumping on the point to stop it, and jumping on rim is usually the best.
Because
way
the
to do it.
ring denies pretty much any way of getting splash damage, and it's a really good way of just kind of like being a watchdog.
Alright. So that's going to be just the general overview for holding when things are even. When things are on disad, you might have your medic be playing very far back, like, oh, that's the wrong color. Very far back, closer to spawn door, because typically you are going to kite Ubers, and by kiting you go through spawn, and then you see where they are ending, and you go to the opposite side. So if they end on the left, you just come over to the right. If instead they're just like center or something and they aren't contesting the left, then your team can come out the left side again. So medic is going to be positioning more back. If you don't have Uber and you're close to Uber, maybe you're like hard building with a scout, that's acceptable. You're going to have a soldier somewhere nearby, just so that you can have them fully overhealed and ready to jump around and defend last if needed. Other soldier is somewhere else, in a position where they can easily jump back to the point once it start being contested. Otherwise, both soldiers are essentially going to treat this like a jump map. You're just jumping around, trying not to die until Ubers are over. Again, scout's bad. Don't be scout, be something else. Have something like a disposable sentry somewhere. That way you have a 7th player on your class that makes a huge impact maybe. Then as engineer you stand and spawn ready to off class to something else. Heavy is going to be slow if you don't have a heavy already, so maybe you would change class to like pyro or something, or back to scout, whatever. Heavy typically is going to either be also playing back near the medic, because you are going to be a high priority target for them. You have the highest health pool and one of the highest DPS on defense, so they will be focusing you down. If you are not planning to sacrifice your life for the point, then as heavy you can like be passive here, be a bullet sponge for a little bit, and then rotate back to spawn, switch off to something else. That way you still stay alive, and then you can come up a different class. Otherwise, you might be like in secret or something, maybe like around point on ring, whatever. And Demo Man, you can have a trap somewhere if you are expecting those the enemy team to come in from those areas. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot better to just trap the point prematurely. I also see sometimes Demo Man play in water on disad, and maybe you like place a more forward trap in this area, and if anyone comes in through water, they just walk into your trap and then you kill them. And so yeah, oftentimes on disad you'll see Demo Man playing on the backside of point here, and just continue trapping the point. Alright. So that's disad. So when the enemy team sacks into your last to try to force your medic, so going back to the even hold, when the enemy team sacks onto your medic, try to get him to force, if they don't force you and their soldier dies, in my opinion, Goalie Wash is pretty hard to sack on, to counter sack from. But also sacking in general. Because if you go through river, typically the entire enemy combo is on the high ground right in front of you. So you are essentially jumping into their eye level, and then, you know, you just get meat shot and die. So river is going to be hard to get through. Coming in through launchpad, they should have someone spotting lobby. So they should see you coming in through lobby, and then your fastest route is to go through staircase, but by this time, they know you're already here, and they have the high ground looking down onto you. Same thing with shutter door, they should see you coming through it. And that leaves main. Main is probably one of the best places to go through because it is the least spotted. If you are able to get through main without anyone seeing you, then you can go through baby door maybe. Go through it, and now you are behind the enemy team. So you can jump in from behind and maybe get onto the medic. But any way that you're able to get in and just counter sack is, you know, just good. Go do that. Alright. That's counter sacking. Pushing out of last. Oh, let me ask this question first. Are there any questions about holding last?
Yes, actually. Which soldiers normally hold which sides?
Completely
I
interchangeable.
can blame. Aiming, dude.
You just kind of jump around.
Yeah. Typically, your pocket soldier is either going to be on left side or on pipe or something, and then your roamer would be on right side over there or something. Oh, so pocket soldier might also be on the point, but they're all interchangeable.
I kind of figured that if one's holding launchpad and one's holding shutter, then it's kind of the same like job. 'Cause you're spotting lobby, upper
Yeah,
lobby.
you're just holding these doors, making sure that your medic does not get, making sure the enemy team can't go through them to get onto your medic.
Got it. Because I'm brain dead. Does it change with add or disadd or not?
You would be holding this forward on even Ubers. If you have significant advantage, then yes, you would be shifting into places where you can push out to second. But on small ad, typically you're not going to push out.
I gotta thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about holding last?
No.
Alright. Then pushing out of last. Advanced medic in air quotes. Arcadia has told me pocket soldier, pocket scout, and medic always go through river. You will always go through river when pushing out of last. Demo man and sometimes roamer could go through launchpad. Will go through lobby. If you are confident that no one is backcapping you, then flank scout can just go wherever he wants to. Otherwise, you're probably going to have your flank scout on some sort of off class like heavy, staying back on last because you fear some sort of backcap. But because your players are going through these different doorways, they should also be clearing these areas. Oh, I should also mention someone, usually it's one of the flank people, is clearing water, making sure there's no one hiding there. Also secret. So the combo who is medic, soldier, scout, walking through river here, you want to try to get through as fast as possible. Obviously, you're checking for traps right here. There could be stickies on this ledge, so a soldier, you know, could like splash the roof there maybe, or as scout just turn around. Stickies around this corner, stickies around this corner, stickies around this corner, stickies around this corner. You know, it's just constant small corridor, lots of corners. There could be a trap anywhere. So as you're pushing through river, make sure you are trap aware so that your medic doesn't drop accidentally. And you are making your way forward onto hard blue or bats or river, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I've heard the wooden area called hard blue a few times, just this area.
Okay.
So Demo Man, you come in through main and you're going left. Look up. This is a common hiding spot. I'll show you. You can stand right here and right... Oh, I fell down. But you can stand also right here. People will hide here, and they will kill you if you don't look at them.
Oh my god.
Your job as Demo Man is very easy. All you do is place 4 stickies on baby door and 4 stickies on shutter. That's all you do. You don't push out. You are holding these shutter doors so that no one can come into backcap.
That spot, like up there, are you able to like get up there, like if you jump like from stairs?
Yeah.
Like a jump. Oh, okay.
I mean, you can also just like when you're walking into lobby, just put a sticky on the left wall.
Yeah, like right there.
Yeah, because that's where people usually stand. They don't stand like outside of it. I've never seen a person stand not just like in that corner.
All right.
It's such a stupid spot.
Other
It's
soldier,
so dumb.
when you are pushing out with your Demo Man, depending where you're going, you are clearing lockers. Obviously, you could see it through the window here, so that should be pretty obvious to you. But you clear that spot, someone could be hiding there. And then you should trust that your Demo Man can hold lobby, so you link up with your team in river. That way you are on the high ground, you also have a high wall that you can jump off of, and you have a lot of vision coming into second. The flank scout, if you are still on flank scout, I recommend either linking up with your combo, or you can support your demo man by like checking out wood, because he obviously did not check this area. There could be someone hiding here still. So demo, you are not going to walk out of shutter until your combo or anyone else on your team says, yes, there are no stickies there. If you open this shutter door and there's stickies here, you die. So you need to have your team who is on bats look at shutter, say, you can walk through now. And then you can link up with your team on second. So the plan to push out is, if they are close, use Uber onto them. If they are not close, get your soldiers to jump up into the air and take space and bully the enemy team out. And then prioritize capping the point, because your demo man cannot hold these shutter doors forever. Alright. So that is pushing out of your last onto your second. Now we will talk about holding your second when things are even. So there are two configurations that I've seen. It is Demo Man, Soldier, Scout, Medic in choke, Roamer, Soldier, Flank, Scout, watches Big Door. This is probably the most common thing you will see. Like, Demo Man has a trap somewhere here so that they can't come in through choke. Soldier changes spots with Demo Man every so often to just spam it. Scout and Medic are just nearby to heal up your demo and combo. Scout should not peek choke. Your Medic wants to only heal your Demo Man and Soldier. If you take damage as Pocket Scout, that is putting extra pressure on your Medic and taking heals away from the people that actually matter when holding a doorway. The Roamer and Flank Scout, all you're doing in Big Door is just spotting it. That's it. You are not trying to push it unless you're counter-sacking. You're just making sure that the enemy team cannot do anything funny without being seen first. If you need to get health, there is a medium health pack there. If you need an arrow, just stand still, have your medic arrow you. If you have crit heals, one of you at a time should rotate over, get crit healed, and then come back. If you do like to do funny things, there are a few different hiding spots. One of them is on top of this door. You can stand right here. You can also stand in the corner on the sign, and then you just have someone bait in. Your soldier could be hiding in baby door, and then your scout baits them in, and then your soldier like comes in and shoots down onto people. Stuff like that. But typically, the no feed line is right here. This is line theory. You would typically never cross that line.
Why are there spots in this game? They're so stupid. In comp.
Yeah, go on. Anyways. So my rule of thumb is, whoever owns the middle point sends the first sack, right? Since we do not own middle, we are waiting on them to send in their sack. Sacking on this map, extremely difficult. Counter-sacking from second point could be easy. It depends on if you're able to get in unseen. For example, like, your soldier over here sees like an opening in choke, and then he just goes drop down. Or your roamer, just does some sort of high bomb from big door. Like, you jump there, you jump off the wall, and then you land on the medic or something. Anyways, so this is the most common configuration. The other one I've seen is Demo Man Flank Scout in big door, and then two soldiers choke, and I think medic is near the soldiers, and Pocket Scout is just near the medic. Your medic can rotate over to the demo man if your demo needs assistance, and then your soldiers should just be playing more safe so that they don't take as much damage. The reason why some teams rotate demo over to big door is because, there's a lot of good trap spots here. You can do it on this wall. You can just do it on big door itself. You can hide them in this crate. You can come into lobby and trap baby door. So if anyone tries to go there, you see them open the shutter, you kill them. So Demoman is pretty good at holding this area on his own, and then Flank Scout's just nearby because Demoman sucks at 1v1s. The two soldiers over here is going to be kind of the same idea as when the demo was here. You just have one soldier at a time spamming this area. If he needs to rotate out, then the other one comes in and spams the area. You will probably not have both soldiers spamming it at the same time, because then you risk taking the same damage. To avoid that, if you do want to at the same time, you could have one standing on this lamp and then shoot down onto the choke. Another thing you can do is soldier on top of the choke. Typically, this spot is only used if you're on some sort of uber disad, but, you know, if you want to just avoid taking damage, you could just have one up here and just stay up here for a while. There's another higher spot right here. Oh, I fell down. Right there. So even higher up on choke. Again, typically this is only used when you're on uber disad. Alright. So that's the holding ubers on even situation. On disad, there are two locations you could be. The one where it's just uber disad, but not numbers disad, is where you have your medic in river. Obviously, Pocket Scout is nearby. You got probably a soldier more like over here or above choke. Maybe another soldier like on point or near your medic to give them the 300 overheal. Demoman is watching Big Door, and then Flank Scout is near him. Flank Scout, you know, could have ran back to spawn, maybe come up sniper, whatever, it doesn't matter. This soldier who's near your medic, assuming that the one above choke is not going to do anything, that one over there or the one on the point, this soldier who has the 300 overheal, you have a good high bomb from right here. So if the enemy team comes in through choke, you can use your 300 overheal, do a right-sided wall jump, you go pretty high, and you can land right on the medic. And then, again, Demoman over here, all you're doing is trapping Big Door. You should not commit to holding it. Obviously, try to delay them as long as possible. And yeah, it's just, if you can get a trap kill, then that's good. Alright. Any questions about holding second? Okay. Then we will talk about pushing into middle. Oh, I should say, on this map, I don't know the exact times, but middle and second cap at around the same rate. I think it's only like a 2-second difference. So if you start capping middle before the enemy team starts capping your second, it is very likely that you will cap middle before they capture your second. This is the only 5CP map like that. Every other map, middle is super slow. Anyway, so pushing into middle. There's two doorways here. There's choke and there's big door, so there's two different pushes. I am not well versed on why you choose one or the other. In my opinion, it's just whichever one you're closest to. If you're pushing through choke, what should happen is your pocket soldier shoots a rocket in the bottom right corner, shoots a rocket in the bottom left corner, and then shoots two more rockets on those corners to clear any potential sticky traps nearby. After that, your pocket soldier can do whatever the fuck he wants. He could go drop down, he can continue walking through choke, whatever. But the major thing is, your pocket soldier is splashing these areas to potentially shoot off any stickies that are nearby. Your scout would come through choke afterwards, check any extra spots, make sure there's no stickies in this area, and then your demo man would walk in as well. The people who are walking through choke, very important that you look up. Soldiers can hide on these windowsills. All three of those windowsills. I believe a soldier can also be on this lamp.
Oh god. Just adds more fear.
Yeah. Other thing is, which is less common, a soldier in elbow, just hiding around the corner. So to spot this, you could just like splash the area here with a sticky or a rocket. If you hear a ding, then there's someone there. Other thing is, a soldier could be hiding in drop down or underneath choke area here. So your team just needs to be aware, see people. If you see two soldiers, then you know they're not hiding. If you only see one soldier, you need to be aware that he's hiding somewhere. Alright, so coming through choke, like I mentioned, soldier clears stickies, scout demo walkthrough, look up, clear areas. And then if the enemy team is close, feel free to use Uber onto them, right? This is assuming Uber add. If the enemy team is far away, then you just use your Uber as a fear and pressure tactic to like push them away. Make them leave middle, make them fear your Uber. So if your combo is able to successfully get through choke, around this point is when you would call your flank in. So like you see the enemy team, you're shooting across at them, and then you get your flank who is over on the other side of the map to come in and support you, try to do like a pincer push, maybe like a flank play in air quotes. Yes. Yeah, it's a very small doorway here, so it's okay if your medic gets forced. It's understandable. Newcomer medic's kind of tough. You're gonna get spammed a lot. If you get forced, you get forced, whatever. The push from big door. It's going to be on low ground, as you can see. The enemy team's up there. You are down in big door. So, if you want to close the distance immediately, big door might be the we're gonna use Uber immediately onto them kind of doorway. So your demo man can just like jump forward immediately onto the enemy team, and your scout and medic can just walk up right side immediately onto the enemy team. So typically you probably want to you want to use you don't want to use Uber too early. You want to try to get as much distance as you can before using Uber onto them, if you are using it all. And then it's just a matter of getting kills, pressuring them out, securing middle, and potentially pushing forward even more. So in big door here, when your combo is pushing through big door, your soldier is going to come in after your demo man, your pocket soldier, I mean. So your combo comes in, the pocket soldier is lagging behind a little bit, they're taking space, and like when your demo jumps in, that's going to be like the call for your flank to come in. So under the assumption that you're using Uber here. So your demo jumps forward, he says that he's jumping forward or something like we used Uber. That is the main trigger for the rest of your team to walk in and, you know, take space, kill people who are caught out, catch up to your combo, and so on. Okay. So that's pushing into middle. Obviously, those are the ideal situations. It's going to be different every single time. So, now we will talk about holding middle when everything is even. The most common configuration is Demoman, Pocket Soldier, Medic near the enemy's choke. Scout is going to be watching drop down. You can do so easily from right here. Like, an enemy player is walking through drop down, you can see their feet, you know someone's there. So it's going to be the Pocket Scout who watches drop down from this angle. Your Roamer, that's the wrong color. Your Roamer and Flank Scout are over there in Big Door. And it's the same idea. All you're doing is watching it, making sure their flank can't do anything funny. And the line theory no feed line is right here. You typically will not cross this line unless you're trying to do some sort of sack play.
Line theory.
Okay. So, Gully Wash middle, very hard to sack. Like, it's probably equally as hard as sacking on process last. The best way to say it is just get in, right? Sack is a sacrifice play. If you fear, then you're not doing
Just
your
get
job
in and kill
correctly.
Matt.
Yeah, just get in.
Just kill Matt.
Right, that's the best advice. Just get in. Like, if you're fearing because you want to live, then you're not sacking correctly. One way you can do it is, you know, just soldier fast through choke here. Like, you can do a left wall jump, fast through choke, maybe a pogo right here, and immediately get onto the medic. So this would be like the pocket soldier. You could even start back here, maybe. Roamer soldier, if you see a good opportunity to, walk forward as much as you can, and then, you know, just jump forward. You have a good high wall on your left, so you can jump up and do a left wall jump and get onto the enemy medic. So those would be like single sack plays where you're just sending a soldier in just for the sake of it. Typically what teams do nowadays is they rotate their combo over to big door. So you would leave your pocket soldier in choke, but more passive, like around here, so that he doesn't die. All you're doing as pocket soldier, maybe even like over here to watch drop down, but what you're doing here is just making sure no one can come through choke without being seen. Then the rest of the team who is over here is trying to pressure their flank pretty hard, make them leave the area so that there is a gap in their vision for a short time. And that way your flank is able to do something. So you get your demo man, capture all of this area, bully them out, and then once there's a gap in vision, your flank would immediately dip into lobby. And then, you know, your combo plays a little bit more passive, waiting for your flank to get into position. Once they're in position, you can walk forward a bit more as demo man, try to confront them. This is going to be the no feed line for your combo here. You just like trying to draw attention to yourself so that your flank has a better chance of getting in unseen. So what the flank does is when they come into lobby, you want to try to get into river as fast as possible. But that doesn't mean take the shortest route sometimes. That, yeah, like I said, doesn't mean take the shortest route. Because if you take the shortest route here, maybe like someone opens shutter and then they immediately see you and now you're kind of just caught in lobby behind them. So you saw me come through main here. I'm more hidden, maybe I go through river or something, but if you're able to just walk in through lobby up to river, that's completely fine, right? This is when you would be in position, when you're in upper river here.
Alright, I gotta go.
Okay. You're in position now. You'd say you tell your team, hey, make a distraction now, and then your flank people can come in through upper river, land on the medic or something. Alright. So that's sacking. My best advice is just get in. Pushing second. So you have some sort of advantage, or sorry, let me talk about holding middle passive. You will have your medic in choke, building with a scout if you do not already have Uber. Your demo man has a trap somewhere. If you have a soldier hiding, he is hiding somewhere. And then you have your other soldier on some sort of high ground so that he can get an early spot on the enemy team. Like, for example, on nipple, you're looking down onto choke. You see that they're coming in through choke. Then you jump away. Like, you can jump towards big door or something and then leave. Flank scout's going to be the same idea. You just, on some sort of high ground, get the early spot. Like right here, you can see a bit into big door. You see they're coming through there, then you leave. It should only be this guy who is hiding somewhere, and if he's not hiding, it should still only be that one soldier, like right here or something, who jumps in and attempts to force the enemy medic. Everyone else should be able to get out. So that's playing passive. Alright. Any questions about holding middle? Okay. Then we will talk about pushing into the enemy team's second. So there are 2 doorways, there are 2 pushes. One of them is through choke. And how you determine which one you go through is, again, I'm not really sure. In my opinion, it's just whatever you're closest to. So coming through choke, first thing that happens is you send your soldier through. You send your soldier through, he turns around, and he says, yes, there are no traps. Yes, there is no one above. Or the opposite. Yes, there is someone above. Or yes, there are traps. That's what your soldier does. He's spotting this area to clear it. Make sure there's nothing surprising here. After all that's done, your scout and demo man can walk in after your soldier. And you want to claim this space for your team and just like try to bully the enemy team out. Your medic should be scared because there is still the threat of this high bomb over here. Like I mentioned, high bomb on this wall. You got a soldier who's high bombing in and potentially lands on your medic. So medics, be scared walking through choke on Gully Wash. Look up at the airspace. Maybe like shoot arrows across, I don't know. But if you intend to not commit in, then your team needs to understand that, and you need to position yourself in a way that you distance yourself from any potential bombing soldiers. If you intend to commit in with your team, then you need to be ready to receive that soldier bomb or something, and be playing with your team, coordinating with your pocket scout, so that you're able to kill him very quickly. Oh, I forgot to mention this. This is a very rare trap spot, but right here you can hide stickies. I've actually died to this a couple times as medic, because it's very hidden, right? You just walk up here, like, your vision is more towards the left, right? You're not looking at the right side. So you're looking at the enemy team, you just walk up, the enemy demo sees that, and then he dets and kills you, and he drops your Uber. Alright. Yeah, so your combo, just taking space here, try to bully the enemy team out. Soldiers can like, oh, that's too high. Pocket soldier can take high ground, shoot down onto people. Demo man can walk forward and use his stickies to like trap off areas. So once your combo comes in and they make it clear that the enemy team is either not committing to holding or they're leaving, that's a good cue for your flank to come in, right? So your flank, who is in big door on the opposite side of the map, is just holding this area, waiting for your combo to get in, and then once your combo is in, your flank can come in, jump high ground, shoot down on people, stuff like that. Alright. So again, also pushing into second, typically your combo wants to come up on top of the point, because everyone can make this jump into river, even heavies, and your combo wants to position themselves in river pretty early. So when you successfully take over second, typically you rotate your medic above point, jump across, now you're in river. The reason you do this, instead of just walking in straight through lobby, is because there could be traps on the shutter, right? So you're just avoiding those traps and taking the safer route. Common hiding spots. Someone could be hiding in this corner. I've actually seen a soldier hide in plain sight on top of these boxes, and dropped me as a medic because my pocket scout was unaware. So as scout, you just clear these areas, make sure there's no one there. Alright. So that's the choke push. Big door push is going to be pretty similar. This is more of like trying to trap off one of their exits. Usually the enemy team, if they are smart, will position themselves in river, so it's not going to mean much. But yeah, so coming through big door, just straight through big door, is usually you're chopping off their exits and you're trying to kill people who are caught in. And then your flank from choke jumps through, gets on high ground, stuff like that. Similar kind of push, but your combo's coming in from a different side. If you have significant Uber advantage, and you know they are building in river on bats, then what your combo can do is they can just come into lobby, get behind the enemy team. So there's 2 different routes. You can just like come up into lobby, straight up these 2 staircases, get behind the enemy team. This is more of like the faster approach, but if the enemy team catches on, then they can just run back to last already. So the other one is a bit slower, where you go in through main, your combo I mean, go in through main, you're all the way behind them in river. Now you have absolutely made sure that you can catch them in river. However, again, if the enemy team catches on to this, they can just rotate in through lobby and then go through like shutter or something onto last. So both of them do have some downsides, but you know, if you can catch the enemy team out in river, you have definitely caught them out, you're behind them, you use Uber onto them, you should be able to kill all of them here. This is going to be like a once in a lifetime kind of play.
When you say your combo, who do you mean specifically?
The Demo Man, Medic, and Pocket Scout.
As demo, I've always been told to just keep holding the shutters, let my scouts go there.
Or, yeah, I guess. I can see that. It's really just whatever your team's comfortable with. My team was more comfortable with Demo Scout Medic. Some teams will do Demo Soldier Medic or Double Scout Medic. And sometimes just leave their Demo Man to trap off these shutter doors. Or even on the other side.
Thank you for clarifying, Jamillia.
Yeah, it's just whatever your team is more comfortable with doing. If you are pushing through big door, you also have to watch out for any potential sniper in their shutter door. He can stand right here. He has a clear sight line down big door. Same thing with choke though. Like he has a clear sight line in choke. So your soldier slash scout slash demo man needs to get this early spot on the sniper. That way your medic is not confused on why he died from a cross map headshot. All right. So, planning a push into last. The most common configuration is your demo man will be in river, like just trapping this area until your team has a plan. Your pocket soldier would be behind him and like swapping places if your demo ever needs to leave. Your medic is going to be even further behind that. Sometimes maybe you walk forward to heal your demo, but typically you're going to be like sticking like in this staircase kind of place. And pocket scout always with the medic. Roamer soldier and flank scout, you two are interchangeable here. One person watches above, one person watches below. It's very crucial that someone is always watching main, because you never know if some like dumbass roamer decides to come in through wood, and you didn't see it, so now he's behind you. Okay, so yeah, this is the most common configuration. Other thing I've seen is like soldier holds this alone. Let me clear these things. Soldier holds this alone. Maybe you have like a scout behind him. Again, medic in the staircase area. Demo man in lobby somewhere. And someone else watching lower. Demo man is mostly going to be doing some sort of stupid projectile play because you have arced projectiles. Maybe like hit a sentry here or something, or you snipe across point or some shit. That's the only reason why I've seen a demo man in here. Aside from, like, actually pushing into last. Alright. Yeah, those are the most common. So, let me talk about some off classes before I go into pushing into last. Sniper is pretty good for offensively going into last, because you have a good sightline through river here. If you peek wide, you have all of this area to snipe the medic. Come over here. You have all of this area to hit the medic, but you also have a wall behind you, so you will get splashed. In lobby, right here, you have a good sightline onto the left if you want to kill like their roamer or something. And going all the way in main, you have this long sightline back towards their spawn and a little bit onto the pillar side if you want to hit some feet. And on launch pad, you have kind of a horizontal sightline. I think this is just above people's heads. So you can like come over here, crouch maybe, and now you can shoot down body shot people from this angle. But, you know, typically enemy soldiers are going to be holding this area, so this one's a bit more risky. Spy is pretty good. Not as good as Sniper, but still pretty good. Because you are able to get behind the enemy team, like you can decloak in this corner or something. I've actually heard a Spy decloak on these barrels, and no one was looking behind. So he got in and like killed our demo. Can decloak in secret or something, maybe kill a heavy, whatever. Your main objective is going for the medic, and typically you're going to combo this with your other soldier sacking in at the same time. So you get your soldier to jump in, cause a distraction, and then you would be like behind the enemy medic, decloaked, and backstab him. Okay. Playing disad, like you guys are on disad, obviously you guys are not going to be in lobby. If your medic fears a lot, then he can play all the way back and choke, have a scout building with him. Soldier could be like over here somewhere, watching river, demo man also around your medic wherever they are, trapping shutters. And then the rest of your team doesn't matter because you have all of the doors watched. A soldier, there is a hiding spot right here. Let's see if I can get onto it. I suck at this game, so the answer is going to be no. Oh my god. There we go. There's a hiding spot right here on bats, on top of this like metal doorway. So you can just stay here. You are forced in a crouch position, by the way, because there's a small roof above you. So the enemy team comes in, they don't spot you, then you just drop down onto the medic. There is another hiding spot over there, but it's not really a hiding spot. It's on that pipe. Let me see if I can get onto it. Oh, I fell on the other side. Like that. Yeah, so on this pipe, you can stand here, but like I said, it's not really hidden. If they're coming through river and they just like look up, they can see you. Yeah. The third stupid one is like over here in this rock. You'll probably never use this.
What do you mean? That looks super useful.
I called that one butt crack.
Yeah. Alright.
And I've never used it because it just sucks.
Yeah.
Like everyone can see you.
Okay. If like your flank scout is planning to hide and do like some sort of rat play, the best place is going to be wood or just above baby door, like right here. Because then you can easily... people typically don't check this area, right? So you can just easily go back to last once your team says the enemy team is pushing out. Other hiding spot commonly is like in water, like behind this pillar, or even over here. But usually someone clears water, so... Alright, so that's playing back. You are planning, your combo, I mean, is planning to just leave once the enemy team comes in, and maybe you send one soldier to sack on the medic, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we're finally going to talk about pushing into the enemy team's last. There are 5 doorways, but three of them are used. Going from water is 1, river is 1, launch pad is 1, main is 1, and shutter is 1. You will almost never go through launch pad or main. The textbook Uber push, when you have some sort of Uber advantage, is from river. You would Uber on your demo man, who places a preemptive sticky there. You use Uber, he jumps in directly into the enemy team, follow up with your scout and medic, catch up to him, and you're just trying to focus fire people down. That is the textbook Uber push. The remaining players, the pocket soldier, roamer, and flank scout, you are delaying a little bit. Because when your team first Ubers in, they have around 7 seconds of invulnerability. Because your medic's flashing between people. Anyways, If you jump in immediately after they Uber, you will become the main target of the enemy team. You are the only person who is, excuse me, not Ubered, right? So you are vulnerable. They will shoot and kill you. So you delay a little bit. The rule of thumb is 4 seconds, but it's usually whenever your main caller says get in now or something along those lines. And then you guys would go in. Pocket Soldier, trailing your combo here. You can like jump up to the ring if no one is up there. This is a really good spot to be as Soldier in general. Just up there, shoot down onto people. If that's not available, then you can just walk in or jump overhead, doesn't matter. Just walk in around this corner, shoot people on the left. Draw eyes towards yourself and not your scouts who are trying to cap the point. If you don't like that, you can like jump onto the pipe. I missed. You can jump onto the pipe, shoot down onto people. If you don't like that, you can just link up with your combo on the right side, shoot across at people. It's going to be the same idea as Roamer, but you are starting from lobby. You should always expect an enemy soldier to be guarding launchpad, so you should never expect this area to be free. Always come into this area very cautiously. Always check your corners here because there could be a soldier there. If there's no soldier there, then this is free space for you. Just shoot down onto the enemy team, you're already on high ground. If you want to get closer, go for it. You can jump onto like those boxes or something, jump forward on onto the enemy team. Somehow like if you're not playing passive, somehow draw attention to yourself rather than your scouts who are trying to cap the point. Flank scout, if you are not in lobby, then you might have trailed your combo through river here, and you can try to get into water unseen. And then once the Uber goes out, like your combo pushed in, your soldiers are in, then you as flank scout can come over from behind point, start capping it from behind, put pressure onto it, make people look at the point, not your team. If they're looking at the point, then they're not looking at your team, and your team can just shoot them in the back and kill them. If they aren't looking at the point, then you just cap. Otherwise, you know, just get in from somewhere, like shutter, main, whatever. It's typically going to be flank scout who attempts to start putting pressure onto the capture point first. Your pocket scout's going to be like in the Uber actively shooting people, so the other one, the flank scout, is the one who's trying to cap the point. Alright, so that's river. The other standard push is through shutter. If you are planning to push through shutter, very important, clear these corners. There could be stickies there, like I showed off earlier in the video. This is two-way glass. They can see you if you push through shutter. Again, it's going to be preemptive sticky here. Demo says use Uber. Your demo man jumps in, gets closer, tries to trap people off. Scout walks in as well, focus fire people down, and same idea for the other people. Wait a few seconds or until your main color says get in, and then get in. Why you would choose one push over the other is beyond me. It's mostly to mix things up. However, if one push works, then it works. Continue doing it, right? But I say mix up because they might adapt to your river push, right? So maybe you go through shutter to mix it up. You start from a closer position and it catches them off guard maybe. Then you kill them. It probably also stems from whatever you're closest to at the time. If you're already closer to river, go through river. You're wasting time by rotating over to shutter. If you're closer to shutter, go through shutter. Alright, the third push, water. You will probably never use this push. When you take players into water, that's typically going to be... Oh, I'm lagging. Typically, it's going to be the demo, the pocket scout / flank scout, medic, and a pyro. And then your soldiers are somewhere else. The pyro is here because you take him in through water, and then you just uber on your pyro and he air blasts people off of the point while your scout caps it. If you do not have a pyro, then what happens is you come in through the point, the enemy team already knows you're coming through here, and so you just have to uber in, right? Because like I mentioned, there could be like traps in the corner here that you don't see, traps all around the point, soldiers on high ground shooting down onto you, so you will need to use uber when coming from behind point here. And the plan is to scare people away. Make people fear your uber, make them move away from the point, and while that's going on, someone else starts capping the point. So for example, you like uber on your demo man, he makes people leave, and your scout comes in afterwards and just starts capping the point. If people stand on the point, then they are walking into ubered players who immediately kill them. So that's the theory behind water. It's very difficult to pull off in actuality, but if you can do it, then, you know, it's a viable push. I forgot to talk about sacking into the enemy teams last. Like actual sack routes. There are a few different ones I know. One of them as soldier, roamer soldier, whatever, pocket soldier, doesn't matter, is right here in river, just at the base of river here. You kind of have a high wall to jump off of. You can go kind of horizontal immediately onto the medic if you want. You can also use that middle pillar to jump off of as well. Gives you a little bit extra distance. And if you start back here, you can do a sort of skip jump off of the lower level of river here. You know, if you're better at rocket jumping than me, you can do a skip jump here and you get really fast speed to get onto the medic. I keep hitting my head. Let me try it one more time. Whatever, I suck at rocket jumping. You get the idea though. Other one is from launchpad. You can walk forward, but like I mentioned, soldier usually guarding this area, and then you just jump forward onto the medic. One of my mentors in the past showed me a jump where you start back here by this wooden thing and pogo through launchpad. It's pretty difficult to do, in my opinion. But if you're able to do it, then, you know, it could be a viable jump to do. I'll try it one more time. Oh, I didn't get speed, but you get the idea. And then, finally, best advice is just get in. Whatever way you can get in, that's how you get in to sack onto the enemy team. Now, the next thing to note is combining it with your flank scout in order to do a double sack. So your soldier does his normal jump, but first, your flank scout would go in through water and potentially bait the cap. Ideally, he would get in through water unseen, but it's okay if he is seen. He is drawing attention towards the point. And when people look at the point, that is one less person looking at your soldier. Next, you would have your demo man start trapping off the front of the point. That way, no one on the enemy team can easily get onto the point. Maybe a soldier can, but, you know, scouts and demo can't. Finally, once you have your scout in position, he goes in, starts pressuring the point, or he just draws attention towards it. He doesn't actually need to start capping it. And then your soldier goes in from somewhere onto the medic. So you do it in that series of events because your scout is drawing attention. People are looking at him, so people are not looking at your soldier. Your soldier goes in and gets onto the medic who is less protected. If they have a gun, obviously, both your soldiers and demo man are trying to spam that gun first. And then you go in for the sack. Anyways, after your two-man sack, you will be down 2 players, right? So you need to position yourself more back and expect the enemy team to push forward into you. How you do that is, pocket soldier is going to be in upper river. Medic, like around the corner, healing your soldier. Pocket scout will always be near the medic. Demo man is coming around the corner. your job is to trap the shutter doors. If you want to, you can also drop down and trap baby door, but that is optional. It's not needed. All you're doing is trapping this main shutter so that no one can walk through it and get behind your team. If they go through baby door, whatever, you see them, you're shooting down onto them. So, as I mentioned very early on the video, Kyle, Arcadia, the advanced medic, says, Pocket Soldier, Pocket Scout, and Medic always push in through River. So, if the enemy team is planning to push through River, you are expecting to see those players meet you. So, enemy people are here. You will take an Uber exchange, assuming you have Uber. If you don't have Uber, then you're probably playing a lot more back, right? So you will take an Uber exchange on only your Pocket Soldier. No one else should be in a position where they need to get flashed. It is a small corridor here. Pocket Soldier, one rocket splashes everything. And your goal here is just to stuff them. Make it so that they cannot walk through, and make it so that they have to flash between multiple people. Thus, it is okay if your team Ubers first. The enemy team will probably flash between multiple people, so their Uber ideally runs out sooner than yours. And then you have wasted enough time such that your spawners come back and help you out. If the enemy team remains here, they are in a really bad position. You kill them. Enemy demo, or not enemy demo, your demo man, who is watching shutters, can also help by lobbing pills over there. Like you see, I have the shutter in the corner of my screen. I'm looking at it while I lob pills over there to help out my soldier. Soldier, do not let your health go into the red. If you see the enemy players, they are like very close, don't be afraid to say, medic, use Uber. It's okay to use Uber first. It's okay to use it early, assuming that you are able to take the Uber exchange. Alright, and then they should back up. If they remain here, they should die. If they don't, they back up, you reset into your hold position. Like, the hold position being like demo and river, soldier behind them, medic scout building over here, and then your flank is in lobby. Okay. Alright, any questions about sacking / pushing into the enemy team's last? Okay, any questions in general about goalie wash?
I have a question not about goalie wash, but about setting maybe. I know in Counter Strike you can swap your you can set your view model to be bound, so you can swap left hand and right hand. And I know that in TF2, like the soldier shoots rockets out of his right hand with the stock rocket launcher. Can you have a bind? Because I noticed a lot earlier in the beginning of the lecture at Shutter, I was thinking that maybe you can like lob pills.
Shutter?
Not no on last.
This one?
Yeah. You could yeah, just like jiggle that corner and then shoot rockets with your left hand. Or
I know in advanced options there's something for left-handed view models, but I don't know if that actually changes the position of the rocket. Let me see here. Maybe I'm just memeing you, and there's no such thing.
flip. Yeah, I saw it. It's a little bit up. Flip view models.
Flip view models. There it is. So let's see. No, it still comes out the right.
Okay.
Oh, it didn't even flip. Can't change view models when playing disconnect Okay, so let me try disconnecting first. Flip, view models 1, map, CP, goalie wash. And then we wait for my potato computer to load. Yep. Red team, our draw view model 1. It is on the left, and it does come from the left. Okay. Let's experiment. Oh, I missed. You can tell I'm not used to left-handed.
Wait, it actually switches? That's sick.
So let's try it like right here. Yeah.
What?
So yeah, that's something you can do if you want, if you're good at it.
Okay, yeah. But what I was thinking is there a way to like bind it to like toggle left hand right hand? I feel like that'd be
No,
really useful.
it is a cheat command apparently, so you can only do it from
Oh,
the
okay.
main menu.
I see.
And that
That's
means it
why
won't work
that's
in
why I
server.
had to leave the server first.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Any other questions about goalie wash?
No, not really.
Okay, then that's gonna be it for this map talk. Thank you for attending. I am leaving.